to the channel. My name is Crawford and this is Virginia's for Lowriders. We are getting back in the garage. We're trying to make some stuff go up and down. We're working on a 90 Ford Ranger. We are building this truck, if you've never been here before. Traditional lowrider sense, but mini truck. We're trying to do a little baby hopping, big monster 3-wheels. This thing will have everything fabricated from complete scratch down to the long-armed 3-link that we'll eventually get to. The frame wrapping that we've been concentrating on the last couple of videos, which are going to continue in this video. We left off last week with me saying that I was waiting for parts, and I continued to wait for parts all the way until Thursday of this week, and then I finally got some of them in. I'm still waiting on 2 packages. I'm kind of at a standstill, but we're going to weld some stuff together. We're going to cross our fingers that that stuff, I really hope, doesn't need to be modified or cut back off the truck. So we got a couple boxes in. We'll go over that. And we're just going to try and make some progress. We got some maybe temporary permanent coil springs and other things, but if you've never been in here before, make sure you do all the normal YouTube-y things. Go back and watch the previous 6 videos of this. There's over 60 videos of my Mazda build, which is a bagged and body dropped B2000. So please subscribe. We are doing a t-shirt giveaway at 4,000 subs. Doesn't cost you any money. All you have to do is subscribe and eventually comment on a video once we hit that 4,000, and you'll enter a chance with your comment to win a t-shirt for free. I'll send it out to you. So make sure you do that. Stick around. Keep up with the builds, and I appreciate y'all watching. Let's just get into some work after we talk about some parts real quick. So let's flash back to 3 weeks ago. I talked myself into buying a pump for the front. I talked myself into upgrading from a CCE 9-gear street pump to a Hoppo's more aggressive half-inch 11-gear pump. So that happened, and then they had their sale. And then I talked myself into some rear pumps, and then I talked myself into this and that, and I'm not using any of the stuff that came with the CCE kit now, and I'm using everything from Hoppo's minus some parts that I bought previous to the Hoppo stuff, and that's what I've been waiting the longest for, and that's what came in on Thursday. And those parts I purchased off eBay from a company called Sweet Nightmares. That consisted of some 2-ton pre-cut coils. I don't think this is going to be the final coil for the truck. This is just what I'm going to basically build the truck with. Most likely these will end up in the rear as a coilover setup, but I got them for now. I plan on buying 3 tons, which 3 tons are always sold out from everybody. I guess it's just a really popular size. So there will be some bouncing around there. But for mock-up stuff and for putting stuff together, it really doesn't matter what you're using because they're so easy to swap out. It's literally just jacking the truck up and pulling the coil out. So initially, front end will get 2 tons. See how it acts, see how it reacts for hopping and scenarios like that. I know it's not really aggressive enough for all that, but again, it's nothing to swap those out. And I have a ton of other cars that they can go on if it doesn't end up working out on this. So what I ordered from the Sweet Nightmare company on eBay was a coilover kit, meaning a coilover setup that will basically end up in the rear of this truck, mounted to the 3-link eventually once we get to that point, which I'm really trying my hardest to wrap up this front end, but this whole part situation is really dragging me down because I waited all week long and I stayed out of the garage because I can't put any of this stuff back together until I have those pieces. So fast forward into, I'm trying to spit all this out really quickly. I know I drag on. I convinced myself because I was already at 3 weeks of waiting because the package got stuck somewhere in the middle of the country. I reordered deep cylinder cups from Hoppo's because everything that I was getting from them was coming in a timely manner. Now, that stuff hasn't shown up. I ordered front cylinders from Hoppo's. I ordered deep cups from Hoppo's. That stuff isn't shown up yet. I really, really hope that Hoppo cylinders fit inside of these deep cups, which they should. This is a CCE brand new cylinder, even though it's got rust on it from sitting in my garage. Fits perfectly fine. I need to do the measurements and just make sure the Hoppo's ones are the same diameter. Here is a chrome cylinder. These are usually a little thicker, and it fits. So, with all of that being said, we're going to go ahead and weld these to the truck. I had this idea, and again, if this doesn't work out, it's really not that big of a deal. I'm going to weld these in to what on a car would be the top pocket, which would be inside of a frame rail, but on this truck it's exposed. It's on the outside of the frame. I would like to weld this in there. That way the cylinder has something beefy to sit on, and it's not just resting on sheet metal like a donut or just a bunch of layers of sheet metal on there, which it will be this plus wrapping plus sheet metal stuff, and it should be really, really stout. But if this doesn't work out, it's essentially the same exact thing. So on a deep cup, the cylinder actually sucks up into the bottom of it. Is exactly how we would be running this setup on the front end. If, for whatever reason, this doesn't work, it's as simple as putting a donut on top of it, then it's basically a factory pocket at that point. I can eliminate this if it doesn't work. That's all I'm trying to say. All of this stuff is reversible and fixable. The only thing that would be really bad is if all of those things don't work and I had to open this up if I ever decided to run a fat cylinder. And if I did a fat cylinder, again, it would just be a matter of making that hole larger somehow with it welded to the truck. But I don't foresee that happening. So, with all that said, I got my 2 rear pumps in. Everything's in them boxes to make them complete, other than the dumps haven't shown up and a couple more fittings need to show up. I have almost everything. That means I have all 3 pumps at the house. The only thing I don't have is dumps, front cylinders, and another set of reverse cups is all I'm waiting for. I really wanted to wait for the Hoppo's ones to show up just in case they were a little beefier. But as of right now, Saturday night, one of the boxes is stuck in Illinois and the other one's stuck in Maryland. The Maryland one could be here tomorrow, but I need to make some progress. I'm running out of time. It's already Saturday night. And I have sat around twirling my thumbs all week, and I am continuing to ramble, and it sounds like I'm complaining. So I'm just going to stop, and we're going to start welding random stuff to the truck. The first thing that I need to do is figure out, this is what I'm trying to do here. I need to figure out how to center this in the pocket to where it is level before I go about welding stuff to the truck. So I'm going to brainstorm a little bit and try to come up with something to hold it in there sort of straight. Thought about the coil spring, but coil springs, they tend to just kind of do whatever they want inside of a coil, so I don't think that's going to work. I also thought about cutting a piece of like 6-inch tubing that I have in the backyard. If I cut it flat and I raise this up straight and it touches the top and the pocket in the bottom, technically that's where the springs should sit flush, right? I think that's what we're going to try. I'm going to go dig through my junk, see if I can find some tubing, and we'll make one of those things, I guess. It's almost like a mock-up bag in a way. So I'm gonna try, I don't know if the camera's gonna pick it up, but I'm gonna try and show a comparison between the two. And when I'm doing this, I'm constantly thinking about where everything's going to be at full lift or full droop. Like when suspension's all the way down, where is this stuff going to land? And for instance, when you're looking at this, this pocket is not anywhere close to in line with the I-beam. The way that the suspension travels, it kind of does an arc. It comes up back to straightness with the pocket. So I don't think necessarily the fake spring idea that I had was going to work out correctly. I think that what I did is I trimmed the top of the pocket off. And as you can see, I just stuck everything in there with the spring. No matter what I do with this coil, no matter where I go with this top thing that I'm going to be welding in here doesn't move. So I think making something is kind of a waste of time. I think this is where it's happy. The cylinder is not in a bind. The cylinder is not at a weird angle. Of course, that's a mock-up that's way too long, but it exaggerates what we're trying to do here, and you get a better idea of basically where it's going to land. So what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to set this in here to where I'm happy with it, tack weld it all together, pull all this apart, and try to make this beefier. I think that's the idea, because that looks pretty good. I trimmed this edge off because I don't even know where that piece went, but it drooped down a lot, and it wouldn't allow this to go up enough. So I'm going to lay a nice fat bead all the way across top and bottom, and thinking maybe we'll strap the front of this. I want to cut this brake line mount off of here so this is kind of uniform all the way around, and then just make everything as strong as possible. I think that'll work. And this is a preview of exactly what we're trying to get at, so you can get an idea. And I'm actually going to swap out that cylinder because it's brand new. And I don't want any of the heat to transfer into it. Let's see if I can actually get it out. This won't be as tricky because the other cylinders that are actually going to live in there are significantly shorter than that. We'll swap in here some old junk that I don't care about. Keep everything centered. Keep some pressure on it or I can't twist and move. The cylinder still sits in there, no binding. It looks pretty straight up and down. I think that's gonna work. It's gonna have to work actually. I'm gonna go ahead and slap some of these on there. Keep that cylinder in there just to hopefully stop some warpage of any sort. It'll act like a, well, in my mind, it'll act like a heat sink in a way. Oh, apparently we done loosen that thing up. Wouldn't even move before. Must have melted one of them seals or something. That's gonna be in the way. I wonder if I put a fitting if it'll stop. Yes, it will. Well, I'm not going to win any prizes for that weld, but it's on there. Well, all of this is going to get covered up, but doesn't look too bad. I got a little carried away and did 2 passes back here, but I had to smooth it out because this wouldn't sit in there flush. I still got to grind it just a little bit more right here, but it's almost there. It's on there. Hopefully it never has to come back off, because I would just have to cut the pocket off the frame and start over and with a different pocket, because there's no way I'm getting that back out of that. Wish it luck, for sure. So, we're going to work on the other side, because this thing is a couple million degrees, and I need to make templates now. And actually, I'll just cut that first. I don't know if I talked about it on the other side, but these little guys are on there from the factory. You have this little ear that holds the pigtail in place, so when you twist it, it just locks the spring in. You have to cut those off. I don't remember if I'd mentioned that, but these are inside of any kind of car with a A-arms, any kind of car with a spring in the front that's old and American. Those are in there. You have to either bend them flat, bend them inwards, or just cut them off. It's a little tricky inside of a car. Usually you have to use like a 3-inch cutoff wheel and get in there and trim them out, but in this instance you need to remove them completely. So I even went out to the shed and found a shorter cylinder, but I have an issue. And the issue is it touches the booster. So this would be, I think this is an 8-inch cylinder. That is basically what I'll be running. That's just another old junky cylinder I use for mock-up. This brake booster is massive. So what I'm going to do is order just judging by Google pictures, pre-86, I think, Ranger boosters are, it looks to be half the depth. This thing, that's a full loaf of bread. We're trying to get a half a loaf. And what I mean by that is like this. It looks like to be about this big versus all of this, which should be, I hope, if we take out the 3 inches here, or whatever it may be, hopefully that pushes this back and we still have clearance. Because as it is, this is not going to work at all unless I run a 6-inch cylinder, which I'd rather not do. So that's the plan. I need to order parts, but for now, I'm going to unbolt it and move it out of the way so we can continue doing what we're doing. This has obvious signs that this master cylinder has been leaking for quite a while, judging by how rusty the booster is. So all of this stuff needed to be changed. It's not like I'm changing out good parts. This stuff is clearly junk. And it's a good thing the truck's already in the garage on jack stands, because it's not going anywhere for a while. I was hoping to have this thing outside this weekend, or maybe even next weekend. That way I can turn it around and remove the bed. But we're getting further away from that idea playing out. All the horse talks. Doing. I didn't even have to clutch dump that one. Just took it off. Pretty impressive.
The whole thing is impressive.
Yeah, that looks great.
It'll be fine.
We're changing it for safety reasons, not lowrider reasons. Oh look, the brake line's finally leaking after 2 weeks of it sitting here and nothing coming out. We got drippage.
Oh, see it right here.
Yeah, that's weird. Doesn't make any sense. Why are you deciding to just now start? Because it shook you a little bit? Whatever that is, don't eat that. Moment of truth. Perfect. This is what I was talking about before. Look how far off the spring is from sitting on there. What is that? 3 inches that it has to turn inwards, like face inwards to work, like this. That's wild. Oh, that's on fire.
Oh, that's like a big fire.
Come on, you.
Caught the hose on fire.
Well, it's not good because of the fuel line right there. Get my drink. Oh, it's melting the power steering lows. There's like a sheath on it. Didn't realize how close that was. Oh, I didn't actually hurt the hose. It's just this weird.
Oh, that Chinese finger material.
Yeah. That's all it was. It's cool.
The brake line looks hot as
It's really nice that the
fire blanket's fireproof.
fire blanket was on fire. It's really weird though. It's not burnt.
No, it's not.
Must have been the
Oh,
rubber
is that-
on it.
Yep. That makes sense.
V8 splash saves the day. Yeah, directly above us, the fuel line.
Oh, that's nice. Holy.
Whatever. Yell if you see anything on fire again.
Ah! Remember how you asked if it was funky here earlier?
Yeah.
It's funky in here now.
We can plug that fan in. Well, it's the next morning. Justin and I were out here until about 1 o'clock in the morning. And basically, I welded everything up. And it was so hot that you couldn't really touch anything. I started making templates on the passenger side, and by that time it was 1 a.m. and I just gave up on this. But before I grind, I'll add some still shots because, of course, my GoPro's terrible about that. Getting like a decent shot of something. But that turned out pretty good. So, as y'all saw, the plastic sheathing from the power steering line caught on fire. Not a big deal. It went out pretty quick with the aid of some random drinks in the garage. The booster is definitely shot. As you can see, it needs to be replaced regardless of what we're doing here. Which this is shot because the master cylinder is leaking, which caused this to be damaged. So, of all of that needs changed. Kind of sucks, but it is what it is. So now that I have access to all of this, and I can actually start moving the brake lines and fuel lines out of the way, it shows that there's really not much frame rail to get to here. It's only 1.5 inches wide, probably, in this area. On the other side, like I said, started making templates. Kind of thinking something along the lines of this, with a kick down towards the frame, and then just fill in the sides. Pretty straightforward stuff, nothing crazy. So I need to transfer this to some steel. I have a press. I made a press brake. If I can find a clip, which I don't know if I can dig through my stuff from however long ago. I made a press brake for it, and I used it for a lot of things. And then I made a couple of winch mounts for my truck, and then for my buddy James's dad's truck. And I ended up breaking the one that I made, so I ended up buying a swag off-road set, and this was like 3 years ago. I still have that in a box somewhere, actually 2 boxes, and I haven't assembled it. That would probably be the best thing for this scenario. And it's probably what I'll be using on the other side, because I don't think I'll be able to get as tight of a bend on the other side. So what I'm going to do is a workaround. I'm going to score the back of... I changed my mind. I just stared at it for a while and decided that I don't want to do it halfway. I'd rather put the things together that I have owned for years, that have been sitting in a box that I procrastinated on putting together because I haven't really needed it until this point. So that's what we're going to do. I don't think we're really going to make any progress for the rest of the weekend on the truck, at least on camera. I'm probably going to continue to work even after I post this tonight. But we need to put this together, for sure. I've had these things for a long time. I've had them so long that the stickers are turning yellow. This is a Swag Off-Road. It should be, which I probably should have opened it to make sure they sent me the right thing. This should be a complete finger brake setup for a press. This is for the 2-ton press. So I'm going to get this open with both of my hands so I don't cut off a finger. Well, luckily it's not rusty. It's going to be really bad if I'm missing any pieces, because there is absolutely no way they would believe me at this point that I've had it for this long. Little bit of rust, which should be expected because my garage is a moisture trap. This is some heavy, heavy stuff here. Hopefully I can get this together in a timely manner. At least finish this by the end of the day. If I can finish this by the end of the day, I will knock out the front frame wrap. Well, everything I can get to for now with the engine and everything in it. I will knock that out this weekend because it has been dragging on for way too long. Partially from me changing my mind all the time, but again, it's continues to be a problem with everything that I order. That is beefy. Try and skim through these destructions real quick. Got some stickers. Welder, grinder, level, square, Harbor Freight 20-ton press. Before you do it, read the whole instruction manual. I'm gonna read through this real quick and see what I can figure out. There might be just some time-lapse stuff because I'm not gonna pretend like I know what I'm doing, and I'm not going to make this an instruction manual because there's a couple hundred of those on YouTube already. So cross your fingers. Hopefully I can get this done by the end of the day. It's already like 3 o'clock because I've managed to think about this too much like I normally do. So I'll check back in. Too much. It didn't take as long as I thought it would to put that thing together. Maybe 30, 45 minutes or so. I did run out of TIG gas, or argon, for the TIG welder, so I had to finish it up with the MIG welder, which isn't a big deal because it looks fine. They're meant to be MIG welded together anyways. I just spent an hour and a half dragging my press out of my shed and putting it in my garage. That swag kit, which 90% of swag stuff is they try to make it affordable and they try to make it to where it fits Harbor Freight stuff. I have a Sunex press that's close to 20 years old. It does not fit the Sunex press. It fits in there. It'll work. But I'm going to have to find some stuff. The kit comes with this ring. And I didn't weld the ring on while I was in the garage because I had a feeling. It's like, I'm pretty sure the center on my press is way bigger than that. This ring is meant to be welded on here, and it keeps it from basically kicking out either way. That is almost the same size as the ring. So that's not going to work because this is supposed to slip over that stud. So I need to either come up with a different stud, because this one's removable, or just find a bigger ring, which a bigger ring makes more sense since this is a much more stout press than a Harbor Freight one. So the other thing Comes with these little ears. The little ears are supposed to stop the press from falling in or moving around. The Harbor Freight press probably stops 2 inches narrower, so it's a much narrower C channel. So I have a lot of things that I need to figure out, like maybe some things stacked and cut and something to make this to where it sits in there centered, because I'd still like to utilize that, because that makes sense. And a ring. And without those things, I can't use this. This has been an ongoing thing for the last couple of weeks, it feels, but we're getting past it. We're hopefully at the top of the hill. And hopefully, I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out there. I am very tired after dragging that thing. My shed is like, let's just say 50 some odd feet of gravel away from the garage in the backyard. That thing is heavy. So, yeah, I'm gonna try to dig through all of my junk, see if I have any rings, and I think we're gonna call it for this week. I didn't get a whole lot done. Again, shipping stuff and whatever, and we got some parts in slowly. Oh, one more thing I did want to show y'all. I'm gonna add a screenshot of the FedEx chart. I'm in Virginia, of course. The parts made it to Maryland, which they usually hit the Hagerstown, Maryland hub before they come to Virginia. That's all good and dandy, but yesterday they shipped my parts from Hagerstown, Maryland to New Jersey. Does that make any sense? And then today they shipped them from New Jersey back to Hagerstown, and they're expected here tomorrow, which I'm not going to hold my breath because I probably won't live past that. So hopefully we got all the parts this week, and we can put the front end together and like put it on the ground next week. That'd be really cool. I'm going to try my best to come out here and get this thing finally put together and wrapped. I'll record all of it, but I'm not going to go into great detail like I usually do. And hopefully, and I really, really hope, no guarantees here, that we can pull the truck out of the garage and take the bed off next week. Hopefully, because we got a lot of work to do back there. Whole lot of cutting and a whole lot of welding. The stuff that I ordered for the 3-link hasn't shown up yet. I ordered it through Thorbeck. I understand that Thorbeck has like really long shipping dates because he's a busy guy. So hopefully that'll be shipped to me soon. I ordered that stuff on November 15th, so it's been like a month. So I think his wait times are usually 4 weeks, if I remember correctly. So hopefully in the next week or so I start getting 3-link parts, because I ordered all of the bar ends and the time joints and all of that stuff through him. So if parts show up, we'll be getting this thing knocked out. We won't have any excuses. I won't have anything to sound like I'm complaining to the camera the whole time about and continuing to ramble. So I will see y'all next weekend. I apologize for all the rambling. It's been a lot. I had a lot to say. But don't forget to subscribe. We are giving away t-shirts very, very soon. Once we hit that 4K, free t-shirts. I'm going to see y'all next Sunday. Thanks for watching.